Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be creating an artwork inspired by the abstract expressionist artist Mark Rothko. For this artwork you're going to be using oil pastels, you're going to be using analogous colors, which are colors next to each other on the color wheel, and you're also going to be using geometric shapes. You don't have to use violets in cool colors, you don't have to use just rectangles. You can use any geometric shapes that you want, and you can use any analogous color set. It's completely up to you.
You're going to start by creating different simple geometric shapes. I would recommend that you have a plan before you start drawing these out. If you want to use a very light pencil mark to plan out your composition, you certainly can. I kind of had a plan before going into here, so I knew what to do. I've selected 3 colors. These colors, like I showed you before, all happen to be cool colors, but they don't have to be warm or cool. They just need to be analogous, which means they're next to each other on the color wheel, appear very similar to each other, and can be created by blending with each other. So I've chosen to do rectangle shape or rectangles. You can create any shapes that you want. It's completely up to you. When you're smearing or when you're filling in your different shapes, make sure you add enough pressure so you fill in as much of the paper as you can, so you can hardly see any of the white from the paper behind. You can also hold your oil pastel sideways, and you can fill your different shapes with broad strokes. Now, although I want the shapes to be about as regular as possible, when you're coloring in the edges, it's okay for them to be rough. Because again, Mark Rothko, although had regular shapes, which means they had kind of sharp edges and were symmetrical, he did purposely make them rough with brush strokes. You're going to create yours, or you're going to make yours rough with oil pastels. Next, you're going to be filling in the background. You don't want to leave any white on your paper. It's a very common mistake. So please fill in your area. As you're working, you might need to clean off your oil pastels like I do. So go ahead and do that if you need to. And fill in your whole composition with color. Again, leave no white surrounding your area. So again, I've chosen 4 different colors that are all analogous or next to each other on the color wheel. I have a violet, I have a blue, I have a red violet, and I have kind of like a magenta color here. So all very similar colors. Once you have all of your white filled in, your final step is to smear. When you're smearing, you want to smudge with your paper towel. So I'm taking my paper towel and I'm rubbing the colors in so that there is no white of the paper visible. If you just left this alone, you would have a lot of background paper visible, and your oil pastels would look a lot like crayons. What we're trying to create is an effect, like a painterly effect, as if the artwork was paint and not crayons. So I'm smearing my areas. As I'm smearing, although I'm trying to make sure that I'm changing and cleaning my rag, you can see that I'm kind of rotating my rag as I go to new colors, because you don't want to smear these colors together. When you get to the edges, you do want to smear a little bit, because we want to emphasize those rough brush strokes. So again, I use different sides for each one of my colors, but now I'm kind of purposely trying to rub that paper towel right against the edges of the work. Once you have all the gaps filled in, you're done with your Mark Rothko inspired painting.